So here we are at this beautiful campground, but the wind sure is picking up today, and we're in our Evanston 6 tent. First time we've ever had it out, and I hope it'll hold up to the wind. I've heard online that it doesn't do very well, so I don't know what we'll do if there's a problem with it. Maybe we'll just go inside since we're only 10 feet from the house. That's right, we're in the backyard, and today we're going to see how this Coleman Evanston 6 holds up to the wind. Stick around if you want to see the results. Welcome everyone to this premiere episode of Gamer Geek Goes Outdoors. Something new for the channel. It's springtime, so soon to be camping season, and you can tell it's a little blustery today. And that's the reason we have this tent set up. We just bought this Coleman Evanston 6 tent, and when I was researching what tent to get, there was a notorious video out there of this tent failing in the wind, and basically they said, you know, it's terrible in the wind, not worth it, all those kinds of things. Well, I liked everything else about this tent, so I rolled the dice, but I wanted to find out, would this tent actually hold up in the wind? And here we are in my glorious backyard. I'd rather find out it fails here than being somewhere up in the mountains. Now, the reason we're kind of doing this, we traditionally have always gone on trips like to theme parks and things like that, but with everything getting so expensive these days, and the fact that we live in colorful Colorado and there's all this beautiful scenery and places to go, we decided this summer we're going to stick a little closer to home. We're going to more go out in the car, go to campgrounds, go to some of the other sites around the state instead of spending all the money on airline tickets and things like that. So it's our way of saving some money and still being able to get out and do some vacationing. So that's the reason we're doing this. I camped a little when I was younger, and I've camped thousands of hours in games like Skyrim and 7 Days to Die, things like that. But in real life, it's been a long time. So if any of you are kind of getting the itch to get out and get out from behind the screen and behind your computers like I kind of have lately, maybe me being out here new is a good way for maybe you guys to learn from some of my mistakes, because I know I'm going to make some. So we're still primarily a gaming channel. This channel is no way going to a camping channel, but just in honor of it being springtime, we wanted to try something a little different today. So let's give you a quick tour of our tent setup. Well, welcome to our Coleman Evanston 6 tent. Again, this is brand new. This is the first time we've actually set it up. And this tent is a 14 by 10. And the thing I really liked about it is this screened area. So it's kind of a porch area. It's definitely not watertight. If it rains, this is going to get wet. But it's kind of a nice place to just hang out if it's good weather and keeps the bugs off you and things like that. So this was one of the big reasons I bought this. And it's not a big tent. It'll primarily be probably two of us going out. I can actually stand up right in the middle, and I'm about 5'8". I'm standing up now. See, my head's just about touching the roof. So again, it's not a big tent, but what we decided on, because we are getting older and we like to sleep well, so we actually purchased these disco beds. Has nothing to do with dancing, but they're basically cots, and they give us a really good sleep. They are the most comfortable cot I've ever owned. Definitely not something for backpacking. You can carry it from the car to the campsite. That's about as far as you want to carry it because it's in two big suitcases. So in this 6 tent, you can see it's just a touch too long to fit really well in here. So it kind of butts up against the back wall a little bit. But I think that might be okay because that might actually give it a little more structure. And the only thing we have to watch out for is make sure that this doesn't rub and wear here. So we'll keep an eye on those contact points there and make sure that's not a problem. If it is a problem, these bunk beds can actually come apart and they can form two cots. So we could actually take one down and then we could put it over on this side. So if that's an issue, we'll deal with it. These also come with little leg extensions, but there is no way you're going to be able to put the leg extensions on in this tent. If you get the one size up from this, it might be possible, but for us, that's a no-go. But it's okay. I actually was under there with Brenda on the top bunk, and it was fine. It was actually really comfortable. So there you go. One of the other things we have in here, you can see we've actually put the exercise pads. That's just to protect the floor. We have a footprint under the tent as well, which is important to kind of protect the floor. And then I bought these cheapy exercise mats just to supplementally protect the floor, because 2 of us on this heavy cot, that's a lot of weight. So I'm doing everything I can to keep it safe. And then lastly, we got this 500 watt power station. I really like it. This brand isn't really available. It's Babine or whatever, but you can find a knockoff of this just about anywhere. In fact, this might even be a knockoff. It looks just like that. Been really happy with this power supply so far. It's been working great. So you'll see a plug going out there, and that was what we kind of came up with for lighting. So if you'll look up here, and it's going to be hard to see, but what I did is I actually got some LED rope lights, and they come with this lovely remote control. And what you do is, if you come down here and we're going to turn the power on, you can see now if we go up, we've got lights. In daytime, you don't really need them, but that's actually on the outside of this tent under the rainfly, so it's protected from the weather, but it's not hanging down. It's actually on top of the tent. And it gives us the ability to turn them on, turn them off. We can adjust the brightness, so it's 100, 50, 25, and you can also go up in steps. So we tried this last night when we set the tent up, and it actually worked really well. They don't get hot. They're not a problem as far as that goes, and they light this up in here pretty well. So if you're looking for a solution for lighting, so far, very happy with it. It's a 12-volt system, so it doesn't drain, and we've got that up as far as we got. You can see here the battery in this is at 66%. It says we still have 12 hours of use where that's at right now. So fully charged, this thing should get you through a full weekend, no problems. So that's kind of that. So we'll give you one more quick look around, and I'll give you a tour of the outside. Again, this is a 10 by 14 tent, including the screened in area. The inside living area is about 10 by 9. But I mentioned the video that had concerned me before I purchased this tent. And it was my assumption, looking at the video and the way the guy had the thing set up, that he didn't properly stake it down and use his guy lines. So these little cables right here, for any of you that didn't know, and I didn't know until recently, those are called guy lines or guy cables. And they're very important to the structure of the tent. And they're just little strings that kind of hold down the fly. But it's important that you put them out, because all of this contributes to the structure of the tent. And I saw in his video, he didn't even have them untied, so I know he never had them in use. And so we've put this up. We've properly staked the corners, which basically is a little tent stake. You can see here, this is the only thing that isn't stocked from the Coleman kit. These are actually MSR tent stakes. They're called groundhogs, and they're supposed to be the best ones out there. So I went ahead and purchased some tent stakes, because typically tent stakes that come with a tent are never any good. So you can see we've got the guy lines all the way around, and I think that's what makes a huge difference on this thing being able to survive in the wind. Now, Coleman did have a little manufacturing oopsie. They forgot to tie the guy line here. So I've reached out to them. I'm sure this isn't going to be an issue at all. I think it just got missed in production, and stuff like that happens. They'll just send me another guy line for that, and I'm not too worried about it. If for some reason I run into problems with them, or they don't honor that, or give me any difficulties, I'll let you know in an update in the description. But I don't anticipate anything. Coleman's a pretty good company. So again, that's kind of the setup of the tent. And this is the footprint. Normally, if you're at a campsite, you wouldn't have that sticking out like that. You kind of fold it under, because what you don't want to have is rain coming off the tent, getting onto that footprint, which is just a tarp, and rolling under the tent. You don't want water between the tarp and the floor. So you'd actually usually tuck that in a little bit and have that hidden. But there was no real rain forecasted, and we were just excited to get the tent up, so we didn't really monkey with that too much. So that's it. That's kind of a overall view of the Evanston 6 by Coleman. And let's talk a little bit about how it held up today in the wind. So I've been filming all day. It's been windy since about 10 o'clock this morning. It's about 4 o'clock now. So this thing's been out here We put it up yesterday. It's been out overnight, and it's been up in the wind all day. I've had it completely sealed up during the wind, kind of a worst case scenario, and I've had it open on the windows a little bit, so pretty much tested it every way I can think of. And this thing has held up great. So let's go to some of that footage and talk a little bit about our results and whether the Evanston 6 can hold up to wind.
And this was a great day to test the tent in the wind. As you can see, the wind was supposed to get up to about a maximum of 31 miles an hour, and this tent is rated at 35 miles an hour plus, so there should have been nothing that happened today that would have damaged this tent. So I filmed for about an hour, right around 1 o'clock, and I picked out a segment that seemed to deform the tent the most. So this is the absolute worst case. You can see the trees starting to move around pretty good, and if you look at the lake up top, you'll actually see some white caps. And you can see when the tent is properly staked down and properly guy lined, you don't have the stability problems that some people claim. Now, to properly stake a tent down, you want to make sure the doors are all zipped, and then you actually basically start on one corner and stake it down and then go crisscross to the other corner instead of going in a circle around the tent. Crisscross is the better way to go. And you can say the tent's holding up fine. It's definitely moving and deforming, but no real issues with it. And this is kind of a worst case scenario. So the wind was coming in pretty much from that front screen area, maybe a little bit from the lakeside, but it was pretty much gathering right where that front screened area is, and that kind of is like a little parachute or a little catch area. But you can see the wind still comes in, and it's able to go under the fly and over the tent and still not move the tent around or damage it. So after we took the tent down, we checked all the straps and everything. Nothing was frayed. Everything looked great. So this tent passes the wind test.
So that'll just about wrap it up for this premiere edition of Gamer Geek Goes Outdoors. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it informative. I know this is different than what we usually do on the channel, and Get Your Game On is still going to be a gamer immersion channel. So what we're probably going to do is these lifestyle segments like this, we'll probably do as exclusives to our Patreons. So for as little as $5 a month, you can head over to Patreon. If this stuff interests you, join up there, and we'll try to do more of these. We'll see how you guys like them. So that's it for now. And so make sure you check out our Get Your Game On channel. And then until next time, remember to get your gamer geek. Get your gamer geek outdoors. Get your gamer geek outdoors. See ya.